This high ticket closer made $4,275 in commissions in one day. And he didn't do that by selling super expensive programs, being an objection handling god, or being the most persuasive man on the planet. He did it by using a very boring business fundamental and multiplying his sales. In this video, we're going to break down what that strategy is so you can go out there and multiply your sales and your commissions. So first you text me $23,000 in cash collected today, like $3,000 in comms. So this rep gets 15% commissions. So that's about $3,200 something in commission. 2 hours later, he texts me again, actually ended with $28,500 in cash collected, which is about $4,275 in commissions for him in one day. Now, this rep sells annual between $3,000 to $5,000 programs, usually between $2,000 to $3,000. That's his average price point. So that means that this rep banged out about 10 deals in one day. It doesn't matter how good you are at objection handling or being the most persuasive man on the planet, being the best tonality, best questions. It's very difficult to bang out 10 deals a day if you're relying solely on the book calls on your calendar and solely on one call closes. So how did he do it? He did it by not just relying on the book calls on his calendar and a one call closes, but leveraging upsells and renewals. Meaning he went back to the people that he sold already or the business has already sold, and then he sold them more stuff. And really upsells and renewals is like the most boring business fundamental, business principle ever, right? Everyone's so sold on like being a one call killer, one call closer. But the easiest sales that you're ever going to make is the people who already bought stuff from you or the business, because they pulled out their credit card, gave you or the business 16 digits of their credit card, and they're already familiar with your influencer, your product, and basically whatever things you guys teach, whether it be trading, starting on Airbnb, fitness, or dating, whatever it may be. So they're already familiar. They're not like some cold lead that came from a Facebook ad and they're like, so what do you guys do again? It's not like that, right? They already have touch points. You ever heard of the saying that it requires a person 7 to 10 touch points for them to buy something? Well, guess what? The person that already bought already went through all the touch points, which is why they bought stuff from you. So it's not like an uphill battle trying to make these sales with these people. It's usually typically smoother conversation and easier conversations. So let's break down how to go about actually upselling and renewing. If you want to get some quick wins, the first thing I'd recommend is sending out an email or text blast. What is an email or text blast? All the list of people that bought something from you guys, you or the business, you send out a text or an email to all of them, to each individual. But they get a text getting an offer to an upgrade, and therefore you can get a hand raiser, meaning that people are going to raise their hand, the people that are interested in getting more stuff from you guys. So at that point, you can actually, okay, cool, perfect. You cherry pick the ones that are already interested and you can call up those people immediately. The text or email blast is something we share more in depth in our real sales system community, but I'll give you some of it. The text blast can go something like, hey, we're letting a few clients in, getting more personalized help so they can get XYZ outcome. Send. Do you want more details? Send. And you send those as 2 separate texts. Okay. So let's kind of break it down. First text is, hey, we have this thing that is kind of desirable thing, inserting outcome, which is depending on what you sell, right? Let's say you sell something like trading, for example. Hey, we're letting a few more clients in this week, getting more personalized help, getting better returns on their trades. Send. Let's say you sell dating offer, right? Helping guys meet beautiful women. We're letting a few clients in, getting more personalized help, getting more abundance with women. Send. Do you want more details? Send. So for whatever the thing you sell, doesn't matter if you sell or make money off of fitness or dating, you just insert whatever the thing you sell, the outcome that your prospects want, what your clients want. Use their language on what the thing they want. And personalized help, that part can be replaced or alternated depending on whatever the thing your upgrade is, right? So if you don't have if you have an upsell, then you can set like just briefly describe whatever the thing the upsell is and whatever your clients want. If it's whether it be like, let's say your front end program is only just group coaching and your back end is like a one-on-one mastermind, for example, right? Just like, hey, we're letting a few clients in, getting more one-on-one help, getting better returns on their trading. Which goes back to the pre-work, which is you first got to understand, why would people want to buy more stuff from you in the first place? Why should they keep paying you more money? Is it the fact that there's 2 types of things, right? There's upsells and there's renewals. Upsells are that it's a bit different from the front end program. Let's say the front end program is 10K, the back end offer is like 15K or 20K. Then the 20K, it needs to make sense that it's going to be something worthwhile, right? So as an example, I've seen different offers where in the front end program, let's say it's a business coaching thing, right? It's like it's like a coach offers. Let's say someone in a 9 to 5, it helps them get to 10K a month. And then the back end offer is that, okay, great. Now you got to 5 to 10K a month, but you're doing all the DMing yourself. You're taking all the sales calls yourself. Well, in our back end offer, we help you hire a DM setter, salespeople. That way you can remove yourself out of the business and scale to 100K a month. They're like, oh shit, I want that. And let's say it's fitness, for example. Fitness is one of those things where you can just keep renewing people because people want that accountability. And then typically what happens with fitness programs is that they'll get some results from their 3 months or 6 months of the program. And then what happens is after that, they start to yo-yo their weight. Their weight starts to like go up again because they stop having that accountability. That's a typical thing that happens in the fitness world. So you can actually leverage that in order to keep getting renewals from people. Let's say you sell a dating offer. Let's say the front end offer is like 7K and it's like a group program online. And let's say you have like a 5K or 10K in-person bootcamp where the coach flies out there, or the client flies out to the coach, and then you coach them in person. You can actually look over like, hey, your body language is off. Your jokes aren't funny. Say more funny things. Say this. So the girl actually laughs. So she wants to see you again. Like whatever the thing is, like more in-person feedback. That's typically like a leverage point where like people want to keep like paying you money, but there's got to be a reason why. Typically is it can be like more one-on-one personalized help. It can be more access to the influencer. That happens too. Or something different that gives them more leverage. Typically what happens from the front-end program is that problems never go away. Only higher quality problems arise. From the front-end program, what happens is that now the prospect or the client fixes their first problem, and then now that program creates another higher quality problem. It's better than the problem they had before, but it creates a higher quality problem. As an example would be, the fitness example is like they lost some weight, but the higher quality problem is that if they don't maintain it, now they're going to yo-yo, which is they're going to feel probably shittier than before because now they tasted success and now they went back down to zero. And a higher quality problem for the business coaching example is that let's say client got to 10K a month, but they're doing all the DMs and doing all the sales calls. Now they're making some money, but now they're running out of time. They don't have that much time because they're in the business, but the back-end offer, it helps them actually get rid of that, right? Have time too. If your business already has a back-end offer, there's a really good thing. Go back to all those people. Or if you have renewal offers, you can just like bang them out, right? You can give them a quick call. So the first step is like text set and email blast. If you're CRM, Close.io is a very easy one to do. You can set up smart views, which is basically like lists of clients, and you can put them into different categories, and you can send out a text blast or email blast to that specific list. If you don't know how to do this, I would ask your sales manager or your business owner, or look up YouTube tutorials to be able to do this. HubSpot, they have that too. It's a bit different. Go high level. I think that's not my favorite software. That's not my favorite CRM. You just kind of do it manually. But if you don't have a text or email blast, then we just go call those people, which brings us to step number 2. Step number 2 is you actually calling those leads. And it doesn't matter if you can do a text or email blast or not. You got to call those people anyway, because just like selling over text, you're just going to miss out on a ton of deals. And it's a lot more efficient and quicker. Just like call them up and just sell them over the phone, which is why it's important when you do the text or email blast, you want to have a time block allocated. You want to make sure that whenever you get a reply, you call them immediately. You have time to call them immediately of the people that responded. Because if you don't, that lead will get colder the minute each minute goes by. So you call them up. And how you go in is with a client support angle. When you're upselling or dialing leads during your no-show time, so you can actually close more deals during the time, you want to have an SOP, standard operating procedure, which is a step-by-step checklist on which leads to dial first. That way you're not being overwhelmed and wasting time and not being efficient. If you want to get access to a no-show SOP training, I shared that in a Real Sales System Lite community. Okay, you can go to the first link in the description box below and check that out. And how you go in is with a client support angle. Call them up, depending on if the client already knows you or not. Let's say it's a client that you already sold to. Call them up and be like, "Hey, Jag, it's just Brian from XYZ company name, brother. How you been?" Yeah, doing good. "Yeah, listen, I saw that you responded to the text, but I just want to make sure, man, like, how's the things been with the program so far?" And then you go in, like, "How's the program been so far?" "So yeah, it's been good, yada, yada, yada." "Okay, let's start with some wins. What are some wins?" And then now they'll go in some wins, what they got out of the program. The reason why I like to do wins is because contextually and conversationally, it kind of logically makes sense. Like you go in and like see like how they're doing. There's a good check-in angle. And also it reassures the client that they have made a good decision by actually buying stuff from you, which increases the likelihood of them actually buying more stuff from you. After you do that, then now you ask something like, "Oh, that's awesome, dude. So that's a good start. What's the next goal for you? What's the next step for you?" Either way, right? I like to say like, what's the next goal for you? And the reason why I like to put like, "Oh, that's not a bad start. That's a good start." It implies what? It's a good start, meaning that there's more stuff, more growth to be had. Okay, so what's the next goal for you? Because the thing is, once people go from point A to point B, most people don't want to stop at point B. They want to keep going to point C, point D, point E. They want to keep going because, as Tony Robbins said, growth is one of our human desires, like core human desires. We want to keep growing. We don't want to stay stagnant, right? You ever like, just think for yourself. If you've ever had a period where your commissions kind of stay stagnant, are you happy with that? Typically not. Same thing with like someone trying to lose weight, like same thing. Each person wants to get to the next level. And so, okay, awesome, man. Like, what's the next goal for you? The person, let's say, got from like 0 to 5K a month. Now, maybe they want to get to 15K a month. Maybe this person went from 220 pounds to about 210 pounds. Now they want to get to 180 pounds. So that's going to require different stuff. So you get to the same thing as a sales call structure, right? In the sales call regularly, you'd get, "Hey, do you know what you're looking for, right? What kind of goal are you trying to achieve?" So you're trying to find out where you're trying to go, right? Upsell conversation, similar framework. Where are you trying to go? And then you can go into, all right, cool. So you don't get to the 10K a month, and where are you at now? So we can see the gap. And they'll be like, I'm at like 2K a month. Okay, cool. So what do you feel is the biggest bottleneck in order for you to get to the 10K a month? And they'll be like, you know what? I think I need help with lead gen. You know what? I think I need help with operations. You know what? I think I need help with this. So depending on whatever you think you sell, the language can be tweaked a little bit. If you sell something like business related, then you can use the word bottleneck because business owners typically use the word bottleneck. So you can use that word. If you're selling something like fitness, for example, okay, so you want to get to the 180 pounds. So what do you feel you're maybe preventing or slowing you down from being able to get there? And they're like, you know what? I think I need this. You know, I'm struggling with staying consistent with my diet or whatever the thing is. So they'll tell you stuff like that. And then after that, okay, cool. And then you can probe and dig into that, right? Okay, so like, oh, how long has it been going on? You know, like a 6 months. Okay, and what's that doing to the business? Or like, what's that doing to you? So same thing as a sales call structure. You probe deeper into that, and then you find out the problem. And then if you sell, like, for example, if you're selling to like business owners, you can actually chunk down how much money they're losing out on, or like traders, for example. That's a pretty effective way to go about it. So after you do that, you can actually go into consequence or cost of inaction. Cost of inaction or consequence, basically, oh, what happens if you keep having problem and then it has XYZ impact? So what happens if you keep not being able to generate leads, and then what happens then? Oh, then my business wouldn't be able to grow. And what would that do to you? Oh, you know, that I'll be frustrated, yada, yada, yada. And then from there, you can, depending on the relationship you have with the prospect, if you have a really good relationship with the client and you know that that person's a very easy sale, then you can actually just shorten a lot of that, and you can actually skip a lot of that and like offer the upgrade right away. But let's say it's a client that you've never spoken to, then I'd go the sales call just like regularly, like how you do about it. You go to the problem, you go into like what they tried before, where they're trying to go, you feature pace the goals, what's the actual desired situation, how they make them feel, and then you can go to the cost of inaction and consequence. So the thing about upsells and renewals is like it's a bit of a more tailored approach depending on the relationship you have with the prospect or the client. If you've never spoken to them, then you want to take them to the whole sales call. If you don't, then like you can actually skip some of that. So after that, then you can go into making the offer to the upgrade. Yeah, I mean, based on what you told me, what we do would work with the more advanced training. So if you want, I can just walk you through, you know, what most clients do and upgrading that, getting the advanced help and getting to that XYZ outcome, getting to that 20 grand a month. Would that help? Like, yeah, that would help. And then you go into your upsell pitch, same pitch pillar, right? So you know how you mentioned that you had XYZ problem? Well, typically how we help for our advanced clients solve is XYZ. What that allows them to do is XYZ out. So you go into that, 3 pillars, go into that, explain how it works, same thing as the pitch structure, but you go through that, and then you go into the same is that, do you feel like this could help you get to where I want to go? They said yes. Do you mind asking why? And they'll say why. And then from there, you drop the price and then you do the same structure. So it's the same thing, but you don't have to hop on Zoom to do any of this. You can just like dial the phone. You can just like call them up and like start going through the process. You don't have to put barriers in front of you. And especially because these are people that already bought something from you or the business, like you don't have to put a bunch of like fancy stuff. So that's the framework. After you've called all the people that responded to the text blast and email blast, you start with the interested people first. And then what you do is you dial up all the rest of the people. If you have a power dialer, meaning that, you know, those things where you click one button and like it rings 4 times and automatically, you know, if the lead doesn't answer, it moves on to the next person right away. If you have that, it'll make your job a lot more efficient. Again, if you don't know how to set that up, ask your sales manager or tech team or the business owner, watch YouTube videos, or just manually dial. After you go through all the people that responded, and then you go through your expiring client list. What are expiring clients? So let's say it's a 90-day program. About days 60 to 90, usually found as a sweet spot for most offers to actually upsell. Because if you try to go for the upsell right away when they just bought the front end program, they'll feel like, you know, I just bought this thing, so I just want to see how it goes, right? Which is fair enough. So you let them go through that. By around the day 60 to 90, they realize that their program's about to expire, and they're like, oh, what should I do? They're not quite sure what to do at this point. And then you go in, you seed that, you help them realize they have a problem. And given that it is appropriate for them, given that they do need that extra support, it would actually benefit them. That's when you make the offer to the upgrade. So day 60 to 90. And going back to the credit rollover system, let's talk about that because that's what this rep used as well. A credit rollover system is basically, let's say it's a 90-day program, and let's say there's an upgrade, right? The front end program is 10 grand, the back end program is 30 grand. If they upgrade to the upsell before the 90 days is up, then you can credit either the whole 10 grand towards the 30 grand. So instead of making 30 grand, it becomes 20 grand. Or you can give them a half credit, like a percentage of the credit, or like a prorated system. What I found is like the full credit system works very well because they're like, oh, that's a sweet deal. So it's like, and you can say like this, like too, well, you know, if you upgrade before then, you basically got the front end program for free because it just rolls over full. Because like if the back end offers 30 grand and the front offers 10 grand, but if they upgrade before the 90 days, they pay 30 grand, but they already went through the front end program for 60 days. And then now they got the back end program. So they got the first front end program for free, right? Which is a good deal for people, which also adds quite a bit of scarcity to people as well. And you can remind people before about 2 to 4 weeks before their front end program expires. They'll be like, ah, shit, can we talk about that? And I've gotten a lot of those upsells as well. And that's how basically at my last company, I was either the first or the second rep consistently 20 out of 20 also closers at backend producing backend revenue getting upsells. So instead of you not getting any upsell revenue, no upsell commissions, now you're getting more upsell commissions than before. So you do the credit rollover system. You do that, or you can give them another bonus, right? If you don't want to, if your business can't do that, or if you don't do that, then you can give them like a, hey, you can talk to the business owner, the sales managers. Can we give them some kind of sweet deal, like an extra one-on-one call or whatever it may be? Some kind of incentive so actually people upsell quicker. So you do that. Expiring client list, I found that is a very sweet spot because they just have that urgency and they just have the scarcity. After that, you can go into your expired client list, meaning that if it's a 90-day program, they graduated the 90 days. So it's not as hot as the expiring client list. It is still people that already bought stuff and then they've gone through enough of the program. So you can call them up as a check-in angle. How's things been with the program since last time we chatted? And then find out the gaps. And then once you help them uncover the problem, you can offer the upgrade or the renewal. So that's the expired client list. Now, after also what you can do is you can go after other reps clients. Now, let's talk about how to do this quote unquote ethically, as funny as that word is. So how you do this is first going after reps that have already left the company, because there will be sales that are made of reps that left the company. They're no longer with the company. So no one's talking to this client. Who are talking to them? Nobody. So you go in and you go like, hey, Jack, it's just Brian from XYZ company client support team. How you doing? So you say XYZ influencer name or company name, client support team. And when you go from a customer support angle, typically it lowers people's guards more, right? And they're like, they just want to be nice to like customer support people, right? So yeah, client support team, how you doing? Yeah. Like influencer name. Yeah. John just has call over past member to see how things have been going. So yeah, how's things have been going with the XYZ program since, you've graduated. And then now you can go into the conversation. Yeah, like, oh, that's awesome. That's not a bad start. What's the next goal for you? Same angle, right? After you've gone through that, okay, that should keep you busy already. But let's say you're a shark, right? You're no princess closer. You want to keep getting after it. You can also go after your current reps clients that are not being contacted. Typically, clients or leads that are not being contacted for 30 plus days, that's pretty much free game. You can go after those. If your colleagues go like, dude, what the fuck? Those are my leads, my clients. And you can be like, did you talk to them in the last 30 days? The CRM doesn't say so. So you're not talking to them anyway. So at that point, it's just like they can't say anything because dude, you're not doing anything, but you don't want me to like sell them. Like, what's going on here? You can do that. And let's say for whatever reason, they say like, dude, you know what? I was actually talking to them on my personal phone and they can actually prove it with evidence. At that point, you can be like, oh, dude, my bad. Didn't know that. You just back off and there's that. Like nothing wrong with it. Life moves on. So the text and email blasts, I'll suggest you do that at a regular cadence about once a month and you change up the copy just a little bit so it doesn't seem automated. But what you also want to do is you want to keep a regular cadence with the people that you sell, that everyone that you sell. So you want to do regular client check-in, like quick check-in text or quick check-in calls, depending on the situation. Once every 7 to 14 days is fine. Don't make client deliver your full-time job with these quick like check-in texts. Whenever you get a no-show or like empty space in your calendar, like you're not doing anything anyway, then you call up those people. And when you have regular check-in and touch points with the people you sell, it makes your upsells, renewals, and also referrals a lot easier. Because guess what? Now you have a relationship with these people. Building relationships isn't everything. I have plenty of instances of evidence where people that are in sales, like in the MLM industry or in the real estate industry, for example, they're not great at sales, but they just keep renewing and getting referrals and just like upselling people because like the clients that bought stuff from them, they have a relationship. It's not just like a salesperson, but now they're almost like friends. And it's a lot more difficult to ditch a friend than a salesperson. So if you have that, I'm not telling you to get friend zoned by your prospects and your clients, but if you have that, then it's very good. And so you can ask stuff like during your check-in calls, you can quickly ask them about like whenever you have time, quickly ask them like, yeah, how's things been going? Like you can ask them about their kids, you can ask them about their kids' soccer practice, things like that. Like that shows more human side of you. And because of that, like now they want to do more business with you. So whenever you go for like referrals, like they're more like, oh dude, like I got you. Like I actually know this person. Like let me send you over their contact information. Hey, do you have like more stuff like I can do? Like does your business have like more offers or like more programs coming out? They'll say stuff like that, right? When you have that relationship going on and you have the cadence, because imagine, right? You never talk to the people you sell and then 90 days after you try to go for the upsell. It's better than nothing because almost no sales rep does that. I bought plenty of stuff. I bought like over 100 grand, 150 grand worth of coaching programs, different things. I've only had like one person who tried to upsell me. And that person was not even a sales rep. They're like a client success manager. And I bought so many coaching programs. Only one person tried to upsell me. I'm like, the other sales reps never had a check-in with me. Because of that, I had no reason to buy more stuff from them. But if they kept in contact with me, like just a quick check-in text of how things are going, like I'm more of those clients that are going to like get shit done anyway. Like I'm going to go out there and take action. But if they had that, then maybe I would have just kept buying stuff from them, but we'll never find out because they didn't. Ultimately, you cannot stay in touch with like every single lead. Like it's very difficult. You could, but it's, eventually it kind of get out of hand, but you want to do like as many of the people stay in touch as much as possible. And how you do that, by the way, way is after the sales call, you want to actually frame and you want to seed the upsell, right? And you want to seed and frame it in a way that they can actually text you. Hey, listen, if you need help, I'm here to help, but I'm not a mind reader. So if you need help, you text me. You have my number and I'll point you the right direction. So if you do that, instead of you having to always check in on them, like sometimes like the people that are going to text you first as well. And then you can talk to them. If they have a big enough gap, you can actually upsell. Upsells and renewals is just one of the many ways you can actually make money and close deals during your no-show time or empty space in your calendar. I actually made a video on something called a no-show SOP, how I made $114,000 in commissions approximately by being able to close deals during a no-show. You can check out the video right here and you can see the no-show SOP video.